So as you see here, there is a picture for brain tissue, a real brain tissue that you see under microscope. It is for a newborn, a child that is at birth. You can see that there is so little connection between the neural cells, and after 6 years, as you see here, there is so many connections that is maybe not organized out in adults. As you see here, in 14 years, the connection is more developed and organized better. So I will show you some video about the human brain. There's some debate about the simulation of the brain tissue. Scientists are very interested in simulating any model, any system that can model, because developing better instruments about these models and enhancing the way that it works needs some try and error maybe. So the better way is to simulate the system. But the debate is that there is a group of artificial intelligence group that they say that they can simulate the human mind. That means all functions of the human being can be done by just simulating a machine. Every neuron, you should make it some algorithm and connecting that programmatically, and you will get all the functions of the human. But there are some figures in the scientific realm that they say that it's impossible to simulate the function of the human brain. At least some of them. Take, for example, the consciousness and self-consciousness. I will talk about consciousness later slides. And even though there is some mathematicians and maybe Nobel Prize laureates, like for example, Roger Penrose, an Oxford scientist in mathematics and theoretical physics, he says that there is some algorithms. You have to, if you want to simulate the brain in computers or any other system, you have to make it as an algorithm. There is some functions in the brain that cannot be done in algorithms. He proved it that mathematically. This is his business, and it's a very known field in mathematics. So this debate made them, the artificial intelligence groups, into two parts. One part is a strong AI group, and weak AI. The strong AI, they claim that intelligence and all the functions of the human mind can be done by simulating the brain. Let's take for an example or an experiment done by the weak AI, some proving that it cannot be done. They took a monkey and gave him a mirror to play with it, maybe for 1 week, so that he learns what to use it and see to the mirror, etc. And they anesthetized him, gave him some comatose drugs to lose his consciousness, and put a red spot on his forehead. After awakening, when he saw when he put his mirror in front of his face, when he saw the red spot, he didn't scratch the mirror. He scratched himself. So he knows that the picture in front of him is not a real picture. It's a picture of himself. This self-consciousness, the psychologists call this a self-consciousness, knowing that he's available, knowing of himself. This self-consciousness is even in animals is present. This cannot be done by just simulation. And many books that I read about consciousness and how it cannot be simulated. This is one example, and it's very interesting. For the strong AI group, there is a very big project held by IBM Corporation. It's called the Blue Brain Project. It is a simulation attempt for a human brain. Actually, there is no powerful supercomputer till now done that can simulate all the neurons of the brain. As you know, this huge amount of neurons, 20,000 million of neurons, you cannot simulate it just by a normal supercomputer. You have to make a very powerful. Maybe in the next 10 years you can. But if you cannot make it as a whole brain, why you don't use some parts of the brain to simulate it and see what happens? So they use the 8th fastest supercomputer ever has been done by IBM. It's the Blue Gene supercomputer. And the project has been launched in 2005 in May in USA. And now we have 20,000 websites about this project. They have the interest in this project is worldwide.